Okay, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Seth Solo Side Quest. I'm Seth from the Lonely Solo Podcast, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about the potential fight between Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez. Now, it's been confirmed that this fight isn't going to be happening due to apparently Teofimo Lopez has got some confidential personal issues. That's from ESPN, so I'm taking the word as gospel regarding this. So it's a shame that Teofimo Lopez isn't going to fight Devin Haney, because I really do fancy Teofimo Lopez to beat Devin Haney in a fight. Teofimo Lopez, he's just beaten Arnold Barboza Jr. Took his O. Arnold Barboza Jr. was a fighter who, going into that fight against Teofimo, was a guy who I hadn't really heard too much about, but I saw his record, I saw his resume, I saw some highlights. I was like, this guy looks like a pretty good boxer. So if Teofimo can beat this guy, then that's a good look for Teofimo, right? And Teofimo was able to get that win. And a Devin Haney fight, in my opinion, would have been a good fight for Teofimo. I would fancy Teofimo to win that fight, especially going off how Devin Haney was looking in that previous fight, where he was looking really gun-shy. Basically ran around the ring for 12 rounds. To be fair, in my head, is somewhat understandable considering he got molly-whopped by Ryan Garcia, right? To be fair, Devin Haney done well in terms of the boxing, but Ryan Garcia bullied him, dropped him, threw him about the ring, absolutely molly-whopped him, and that is the prime example of the type of fight where even if you win it, he lost it, but the record books will show Devin Haney won it. You do not recover from beatings like that. You don't recover from getting dropped 3 times in a fight. You don't. In my opinion, you really, very, very, very few boxers are actually capable of recovering from that. And we're seeing that exactly now, where his first fight back, he was very gun-shy. That being said, Devin Haney's certainly not a power puncher and certainly isn't known for being sort of a plodding forward, heavy pressure fighter. He's always sort of been known as an outside fighter, more of a boxer puncher than a brawler or a pressure fighter, because he's got very few knockouts in his career, and we can see even in his fights he's really not got a ton of knockout power, right? But Devin Haney, like I said, it's the type of performance that he had against Ryan Garcia that you don't recover from, and Teofimo Lopez being as good of a boxer as he is, Teofimo Lopez is already pretty difficult to hit. He's already more of a puncher than Devin Haney, that's for sure. But we'll see. It's a shame. I think hopefully this fight can happen somewhere down the line. I think Teofimo Lopez, like I said, is one of my favourite boxers to watch at the moment. He's a guy who has got a ton of skill, great defense, and he packs a bit of power behind his punches as well. And he always comes to fight. He's always a live body. He's only lost once, but he's at the top. He's beat Lomachenko. He is due another big fight. And not to say that Arnold Barboza fight wasn't a big fight. Of course it was. It was one of the headliners on the Times Square card. That was definitely a big fight. But Teofimo Lopez will definitely be looking to get Devin Haney's super lightweight WBC title as well, because Devin Haney currently holds that. He was undisputed at lightweight, which again, a huge achievement for Devin Haney, a huge achievement, but he's at 140 now, and there are some big guys at 140. Teofimo's one of these guys, and Teofimo, even though he's not huge for 140, but he live body, like I said, difficult boxer to beat, and in my opinion, I would fancy Teofimo to beat Devin Haney. So that's why I was sort of disappointed to see that whatever the personal issues are, hopefully there's something that Teofimo can get over and he can overcome those issues. And like I said, hopefully one day he can fight Devin Haney for a world title. Even if it's not for a world title, that fight, Devin Haney v Teofimo Lopez, is a huge fight regardless. It doesn't need a world title there. They're 2 top-level boxers, right? But yeah, like I said, if that fight was to happen, I would have picked Teofimo, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully that fight can happen sometime down the line. But yeah, another episode of the Seth Solo Side Quest in the bag, and I'm out. Peace.